The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Welcome back to Probably a Podcast. We have an incredibly special guest. I would dare to say, only because my mom hasn't been on the podcast yet, that this is the most special guest to date. Someone that has been here throughout the entirety of this podcast once it really started being a podcast with real production. And that is none other than our amazing producer. That is Producer Courtney. Producer Courtney, you are a fixture on this podcast in my life. You literally do everything. She does everything. I know what you guys are going to say. Pay her more. I will. I'll do it. Whatever you want, Courtney. I love you. And this whole crazy ship would not work without you. It just wouldn't. I would have given up 1,000 times already. So thank you so much for being you. Welcome to the podcast. How's it feel? She walked in. Oh, not me already interrupting her. She walked in and I said, "You look stunning," which she always looks stunning. She's one of those annoying little bitches that's naturally beautiful without a stitch of makeup. She's just giving cool girl energy. She's oozing cool badass. She's very tiny. She's just a little girl. And yet she will just fucking powerhouse lift some fucking merch boxes. People will be like, "Oh, I got that, girl." She's like, "Got it." And I always love that about you. But I just love seeing you glammed up today. And you walked in and you said, "I'm on the podcast today, duh." I said, "True." How do you feel? How's it feel being on this side?
I'm scared.
Drink up. We made you a beverage.
I have a nice drink full of pineapple juice and tequila, and that is so kind of you.
Of course.
Also, oh my gosh, I'm just going to cry because that was so nice of you to say. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you, and we're just going to cry for an hour at each other.
We are. No, truly, you're my life raft. So this whole podcast, we're going to be talking about tour life. Me and Courtney, we're just road dogs. But I have a incredibly cool announcement to make on the forefront of this episode. We're talking big announcement. We're talking used car dealership, fucking the Toyota Thon 4000 balloons outside, the Ford truck event of the year, and none of these are car related. That's just what my brain went to. But we have a big announcement to make, and that is I am going on tour in 2025. But it's a really exciting tour because it's a tour, baby. It's a tour, and it's a large one. We've got, how many cities are we going to? And we're still adding more and more. We're basically touring for an entire month and a half.
A lot. I don't know the actual number.
Most importantly, it's my debut comedy tour. So this is my first ever tour that is in its entirety just going to be me doing stand-up. And I'm going to throw up every time before I go on stage. I'm sure I shit my pants. But these are the cities that we have so far. If you want to take it first and foremost, go to prayforshannon.com. That's PRAYFORSHANNON. Prayforshannon.com to get your tickets. Me and Courtney are obviously going to talk more and more about the show and all the things that it entails, but let me just get to the cities first and then we'll get to the crux of it. But I'm really, really proud of this and everything we've done to prepare for it, book it, the huge team behind having to book all these things and help out. John, if you're listening, we love you too. John is he's my booking agent, not my ex-boyfriend. They just have the same name. So anyways, we love him. We love them both, honestly. They're both great guys. Okay, so starting strong. The tour starts in February, the end of February. February 25th, New York City in New York. February 26th, Boston. February 27th, Philly. February 28th, Pittsburgh. March 2nd, DC. March 4th, Columbus, Ohio. March 5th, Cincinnati, Ohio. March 6th, Indianapolis. March 17th, St. Petersburg, Florida. March 18th, Orlando, Florida. March 19th, Naples, Florida. March 20th, Diana Beach, Florida. Where is that?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Dania Beach. Interesting. March 25th, Houston, Texas. March 26th, Austin, Texas. March 28th, Dallas, Texas. May 1st, St. Louis. May 2nd and 3rd, Chicago. And we are still trying to get some cities for, what is it?
We just added New Orleans on March 23rd and Kansas City on April 30th. And we are trying to get to Toronto, but nothing yet.
Toronto. I hear your cries, Canada. I'm coming, baby.
We're trying.
I'm coming. I got a passport. I'll come to you. I don't care. So yeah, those are the cities right now. And it's all kind of taking place in one full month, which we haven't done before. I'm really excited about that aspect of it.
Yeah, if we're going to drive.
Girl, I don't know what we're gonna do yet. I wanted to do an RV. Obviously, guys, I'm not making the kind of cashola that we can rent a tour bus and a driver and have the whole shebang. I'm not Tana yet. And anyways, we have decided probably just to fly to most places, get a rental car, etc. But I did have this one idea where I was like, why don't we just get an actual RV? I'll get an RV. We can get a driver for it. We'll figure it out. And then I called my mom and she was like, you should just buy an RV. And that is a really good example of like the kind of financial structure that I grew up with. Just,
I love Sharon Kay. She has the best ideas.
she was so fucking serious too. You should just buy an RV. And I was like, great call. Like imagine James hates that blue truck, that vintage blue truck just sits out there. He said this is a lawn ornament, which he's not wrong. Like I literally don't drive it, but I love her. I can't sell her. I love it. And yeah, my mom, like imagine I just had an RV sitting out front. Our HOA would be like, no, really quick, no.
Perhaps park it somewhere else.
So when we decided to do this tour, basically I wasn't going to do it unless Courtney talked me into it. And I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but never like in full entirety. And that is that I basically was really nervous to do anything on stage. I don't know why. You would probably assume like, you'll crush it. And as a guest for someone else's, like, no problem. I'm free as a daisy, loose as a goose, like not a big deal. But the idea and the responsibility of like doing your own show is just like really stressful. You want to entertain. I don't want to just bore people, you know? And a lot of people think this happens with podcasts. This happens with anything in the world. A lot of people are like, I could do that. I could have a podcast. And then they sit here and they're like, wait, what would I talk about? And listen, when I'm on this podcast, I can ramble for an hour straight because guess the fuck what? That's what a podcast is. And I know you guys like to just tune off, drive to work, and listen to fun, mindless chatter that kind of just lets you turn off for a second. Giggle a little, laugh a little, think a little, whatever. That is all well and good when you're on a podcast. But when you're inviting people to a, stage, to seats, to an actual like venue space, I think you owe them for a ticket price more entertainment, real actual thought out entertainment. And that was something I was really nervous about doing with as far as like a live podcast show. And then you really convinced me that I could do it, which was really, really fantastic and nice. And then we did it. And let's talk about the very first tour that we went on, or the first actual show. What was that?
So the first show was Nashville, which for that one you had Anna Grace.
Yeah. So that was my life raft then. Like I was like, I literally can't do this without someone else coming on stage and like having some form of like a guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then that, oh my gosh, thank God for her because I felt so at ease. But I didn't know how I'd feel. Once I got on stage, I felt so at ease. Like once Anna Grace came up, I was like, cool, cool, cool. When she left, I was like, cool, cool, cool. And I needed that to prove to myself I could do it. But after that, I never had another guest on the live, which was also a confusing concept. People are like, you have a live show podcast tour, but like you don't have any guests. I'm like, no, it's just me. And people are like, but what? I'm like, that is confusing. And then I actually I had Taylor King on an episode in LA. I had her come on as a guest and she did some fun, like juicy polls. But other than that, I was like, no. I think this is always great to just like have me up here by myself explain the structure of the live show at the beginning.
Yeah. So at first the live shows were, a mix between your storytelling and submissions from listeners or people who are going to be in the audience.
Right.
So you were able to kind of dip your toe into like the crowd work aspect of it a little bit by getting those submissions and having stories from people. And also people loved hearing their stories be read. Like they loved being like sending shit in.
That was what was really cool, was that the confessions were from, we would only allow the confession if you were coming to the show. So you had to be like coming to the show to give your confession. So someone in the audience every time knew that their confession was being read, which was cool.
Yeah. And so people were always excited to be included in it. And then like you could relate your stories to theirs or just tell different stories based on different cities that we were in.
Yeah.
And like we got some crazy shit.
These confessions were off the fucking charts. And the actual podcast tour, the live podcast tour itself, it kind of followed the same rhythm every time. So I never put them out. We also wanted to encourage people to come to the show. So we didn't want to actually just put it out on a podcast. But now that we've switched up to just full stand up now, I would love to read some of these confessions. Do we have some of the confessions?
Oh, we have every single one of them.
Oh my gosh. Some of them, let me think of some off the top of my head that were the craziest ones. This one girl said that this was in like a rural area. This was like a Midwestern city. And she was like, one time we drank back with Four Locos before they changed the recipe. I remember she said that. She wrote in parentheses before they changed the recipe. And that shit was lethal before they changed the recipe. And it was just really, really crazy because she was like, we drank a bunch of Four Locos. We met these guys at a bar. We kept drinking more Four Locos. We went to this field. All of a sudden, I'm like, this is fine. I also had this like realization that the Midwest is a lot like the South. Like it's very like similar rednecks and like Midwestern folks. And so is Ohio the Midwest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you get it. You're a Midwestern girly. So anyways, I was reading it. I'm like, classic. They went to a bonfire. Now they're just shooting shit. Now they're doing this. And the next thing you know, she was like, the next thing I know, I was up in an airplane with this man. And I was like, what? She was like, the guy ran like crop dusting, like whatever those planes are that you like feed the I don't fucking know, guys. Listen to me. I don't know. But like, that's what she did. And I was like, you're kidding. And so she was like, these confessions, and that girl was in the audience. I was like, are you here? And no one answered at first. And I was like, is she okay? It's like, she was there and she was talking about it. So that was like really funny. What are some other really good ones? There were some nasty ones.
There was one like that similar where like this girl went to a party and then like months later, years later, maybe somebody found her phone in the woods.
Yes.
And it was somebody that she knew and they like called her, was like, hey, I found your phone. And
yes.
She like, it was so crazy.
What
she
about
was on a motorcycle with somebody or something?
What about the girl who was in the audience too? And I was like, I was like, I'm going to be your mom. You cannot do that anymore. One time, and this happened in downtown Nashville. We weren't in Nashville for this show. We were somewhere, and she was like, I partied in Nashville one time so hard, and my friends lost me at the bar. And they were all walking up and down Broadway trying to find me. They couldn't find me, so they ended up like going back to the Airbnb, being like, I guess we'll find her later. And then she was like, I'll never forget, an 18-wheeler dropped me off, and my friends came out, and he was like, it was two guys, and she was like, I swear nothing happened. I know for a fact. Like, I woke up, but she said she blacked out and she came to in the 18-wheeler, and she was like, hello. They were like, you're very drunk. We're trying to find your friends. And she was like, also, by the way, if I drove an 18-wheeler, even if I had the purest of hearts and I knew I was doing right, I do not think I would be like, this is going to pan out well for me. Mm-mm. We're going to grab this girl. When she wakes up, when she comes to, we'll tell her what we'll tell her what we're doing.
She's going to be so grateful.
She's going to be so thankful for us. Like, yeah. Hey, if you drive an 18-wheeler, don't have a good heart. Just let it go. Just let the drunk girl stumble home, I guess, or call the police. I don't know. Anyways, she was like, yeah, never. My friends were like, actually, like, they didn't think it was funny. They were like really bad at me. I was like, you think?
No shit.
You think?
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, if you come in any way, shape, or form to any social event with bad breath, stank breath, you're going to get talked about. That's what's going to happen. Bad breath is just genuinely like the biggest ick to me. And you guys know I have a mouthful of just like absolute fake teeth. And so for me, I take my dental hygiene very seriously, but I also have to like pay more attention to it. Like, I have to like really get in there because you can get some stuff behind those fake teeth. So I want to always make sure that I don't have bad breath, which is why I use Smart Mouth, because it is the only mouthwash that is scientifically proven to eliminate and prevent bad breath for 24 hours with just 2 rinses a day. Now, here's why I think it just works so much better than the other ones. It's because they have this like really cool, unique dual chamber bottle. And it keeps these 2 really powerful solutions separate until you're actually ready to use them and rinse. So then when you pour the 2 solutions in a cup, it also just looks cool. You're activating their Smart Zinc technology, which all of this is going to sound very scientific, but this zinc ion activation is the key to eliminating and preventing sulfur gas. Now, sulfur gas, for those of you who aren't Bill Nye the Science Guy like myself, is bad breath. Sulfur gas, bad breath. All right. And that is the secret to all day fresh breath. Having that zinc ion activation within the 2 different bottles, once these little liquids mix, is it, baby. It's it. So Smart Mouth, as you can imagine, was developed by a dentist, because who else would know how to do all that stuff? And it's just really, really great because it's backed by that scientific formula. And you can also just really, really feel its long-lasting freshness. Like, you just know, like some other ones, you can just tell it was just going to make your mouth minty for a little bit, like chewing gum. No, this actually genuinely prevents bad breath for 24 hours and bad breath for 12 times longer than any other leading brand, which is really, really nice. I love this because, I just think in any forward-facing position, like in work or in social life, like having bad breath is just not the move, okay? It's just not. So don't miss out on 24-hour fresh breath. Find Smart Mouth at CVS, at Walgreens, or Walmart, or you can just visit smartmouth.com, www.smartmouth.com/probably, of course, to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's www.smartmouth.com/probably. Your mouth and everyone around you will thank you.
We got we had a sugar baby question that you asked for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I used to always ask the crowd because there was this one confession about a girl that was a sugar baby. And so then I started asking every group, like, who here has been a sugar baby? Now, this is an interesting thing about tour and just like life in general on stage. One thing about me, if you come to one of my shows, teach their own, like, live your truth. If you are sober, if you're pregnant, like, obviously, like, you will still have a great time at my show. But like, I really love when people drink a lot at my shows. It's just fun. It's more fun. The energy's better. People are laughing more. It's great. And I know that everyone still controls themselves because we always have people tell us at these venues that we have great, what did they say to us last time?
That we have a great crowd.
That we have a great crowd. And that is evident, or that is really showcases, what did they say? It It was a really nice compliment. I'm forgetting.
That like it's a reflection of you.
Reflection.
Yes.
They were like, that's a reflection of you. You have a really, really great crowd, and you always have, because it was Raleigh, which I'd been to twice. And they were like, we love when you come because your crowd is so nice. They're just such great people. And it's a reflection of you. You know, sometimes we get some people in here and their crowds are awful and it's kind of a reflection of them. And I'm like, oh, damn. So that was really nice. But I will say, I love when people get rowdy and drunk and it's just so fun. But when you do crowd work or just in general, like you talk to the crowd, you never know what's going to happen. So whenever I open up the floor, like, hey, who here has been a sugar baby? Like, raise your hand. And I sometimes got some answers that were like, me, like, and I'm like, okay, I got 2 questions. That's the way I tell them. 2 questions. So they know, like, you know, I'm not handing you the mic. 2 questions. Where did you meet him? And what was like the biggest big ticket item that you got from him? Okay. Yeah. I never asked him like, what'd you do for it? What was y'all's relationship like? Just where'd you meet him? What'd you get? And all of them always found him at work. It was always like, oh, I was a bartender I met at work.
No,
golf
it's
girl.
That or seekingarrangements.com.
Oh, yeah. Oh, duh.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Only 2.
So true. Like so many people were like seekingarrangements.com. I'm like, Slay the House on Boots. Okay, yeah. So anyways, she was this one girl. I remember one time this girl was like, yeah, I met him at my work. We were together for about 1.5 years. He didn't really get me stuff, but like we were always together. Like the more she started talking about it, I was like, I think that was your boyfriend. Like, I think you just dated an old guy. That was just your boyfriend. Yeah. That doesn't make you a sugar baby. But then we got some incredible ones. Yeah. Some ones like, what did the one girl say? She got a pageant. This one girl said she got like a $5,000 pageant dress. Very niche sugar baby. Okay. She's like, I was doing Miss Texas. I needed a pageant dress or Miss Florida or something. And she was like, it was a $3,000 gown and he bought it for me. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Another girl was real timid, right? She was like, I was sugar baby. And I was like, oh my God, stand up. And she's like, I was. And I'm like, where'd you meet him? She's like, work. And I'm like, right. And I'm like, did you get anything? She's like, not really. She's like, money. She's like, not really money. She's like, but he did buy me a house. And I was like, what? And it was always such a fun part of the show because like the whole crowd would just erupt into applause. Like everyone's like, you did it. Yeah, like it was just like, and she like took a bow. Like that's, you know, that's just incredible. Like,
yeah, we got some cars, some college tuition.
College tuition was nice.
We did have a girl that raised her hand that she said she was a sugar baby and got a suitcase. Do you remember that one?
Yes. And I said,
don't know if that qualifies, but
there's some nice suitcases. Maybe it was Ramoa. It's $1,000 suitcase.
That could qualify.
Although, yeah, you know, to each their own, sugar babies, to each their own. Maybe that was a really special gift for her.
Yeah, she might really love it.
She loved that suitcase. Yeah, so that was really fun. And then I would have the confessions, and then I would also do a couple like memorized little stints of things here and there. Yep. Some truth or drink questions that were always just kind of funny, like fuck, marry, kills, like just really nice, fun, easy stuff. You kind of felt like you were like having another girls' night. It was the perfect like girls' night adventure, right?
Yes. Wait, but we do have to go back to the confessions really fast because the other day I got a message from a girl who had a confession at one of the shows, and she did a confession. She was there with her friend and she was wearing a Teal Help sweatshirt, and she sent you a confession that she was pregnant and that her friend didn't know. She sent me a message the other day. She was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know she had her baby.
I mean, the full circle.
So fun.
How about the friend that was like, came to the meet and greet and was like, I found out I was pregnant the day after I left your show. Like, I thought I was really hungover. I thought I was like, drank too much tequila at your show, whatever. And then I found out I was pregnant the day after. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, well, you've had your baby, right? Because it's been 1 year since I come there. She's like, yep, 3 months old. And I'm like, no way. And so I said that in the show. I was like, there's a girl here that found out she was pregnant the day after my show. And this other girl goes, so did I. And I was like, you did too? And they got together and I was like, how old's your baby? How old's your baby? And they were like, their babies were a dead ass like 2 weeks apart. Like I was like, no way. Like that, I don't know. That just to me, I know had literally nothing to do with the process, but like that's just fun.
Yeah, no,
I just love that. That's like a fun memory attached to tour. But that one girl, yeah, she had sent me a confession that was like, I'm pregnant. I'm here with my best friend. She doesn't know. I don't know if I'll be able to keep this secret because I basically put these confessions out like weeks in advance, right? Yeah. Sometimes even a month or so. She's like, I'm hoping I haven't told her by then. So it's still a really fun, big surprise. But if I haven't told her, this is going to be a really big deal. So like, first of all, couldn't be me. Like I can't keep shit to myself. So like the way I am just like, I'm just shocked. Like I would have had to tell Taylor. And the girl was sitting there and I was like, we have another confession. And I basically like said it. I was like, she said she might have told her already. She might have not. But there is someone here tonight. One of your friends here tonight is pregnant and she hasn't told you yet. And I'm like, is that person here tonight? And I think it was just like a giant scream. And so we turned and looked and the girl, I can't even like, we'll have to share the video. It is the sweetest thing. Like she's like, no. And you could tell they were like best friends like me and Taylor, like very close friends. Cause the girl was like shook to her core that she didn't like actually no yet. And also she had told me before that it was like a rainbow baby, and it was just like even more special and sweet. And I just like, oh my God, I literally did cry on stage. I was like, so stop, I'll literally cry. Like it was just the sweetest, purest thing that was really cute. So there's some, you know, some people were fucking their cousins in these confessions, and some people were having, you know, beautiful babies. So that was about the crux of it. The confessions were always good.
They were so fun, but you don't need them anymore.
I don't need them anymore. And that's because you did convince me to, you know, skirt down the road of comedy, which I always, you know, growing up, you know, if you like, I imagine this has like never really happened to me, and I'm not being facetious. Like I get it. I know, like, I know I'm like cute and pretty, but my whole life people haven't come up to me and been like, you should be a model. Like I imagine, I'm trying to think of another thing. Like if you were really good at something that is very obvious, like if you were a really good cook or really good at sports, you're like, you should be a chef. And someone told you that your whole life, like, I'm not kidding. My whole life, people were like, you should do stand up. And I'm like, yeah, I could never do that. That'd be funny. And I really meant that. Like, I could literally never do that. Like, there's such a difference in someone being funny and someone being able to do stand up. Like, the two are not married. Like, you really, it is so much more than that. It's so hard. It's so, like, I actually get, like, flustered even just thinking about it right now. Even when I talk to people, like, whenever I had Courtney Parchment on the podcast, Average Fashion Blogger, she's like, yeah, couldn't be me. Like, and that's the funniest bitch I fucking know. Like, that is such a hilarious individual who literally is on TV shows, who's a writer, who writes funny jokes for other people, says them herself, like, why wouldn't she be able to do stand up? And she's like, no, couldn't be me. Quite literally, as I record this right now, I am looking at a Thrive Market box that was just delivered to my house. I love Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an amazing grocery subscription service that I love because not only does it come straight to your door, but it's really like trusted ingredients. Like I'm obsessed with all of the things they have. One, just because I don't have to go to the grocery store, that's a given. But certified organic is always their first choice, right? So Thrive Market studies each label to search for the best wholesome ingredients that have been vetted for safety. I feel like a lot of these days you really can't trust what's on the labels, but that is not the case with Thrive Market. This way you don't have to spend hours reading your kids' snack labels, and they even restrict 1,000+ ingredients that are found at conventional grocery stores. And I feel like we hear this all the time. We see the memes, we see the pie charts that talk about how the US has so much more chemicals and ingredients that aren't allowed in Europe. Well, Thrive Market is doing their part by really helping to restrict those ingredients. So 1,000+ ingredients are not allowed in there, so you can help shop for your family with peace of mind, all right? And also, they're on a mission to make healthy and sustainable living easy and affordable for everyone. That's what I really love about it. You can find new brands. I personally love the Thrive Market brand. Like, of course, they have like Amy's and Four Sigmatic and all that kind of stuff that we just know and love in the healthy department, but they have their own brand, the Thrive Market brand, that is incredible. That's where I get my whole beans to make my coffee every morning. You guys know I'm religious about making my whole bean coffee, and I love Thrive Market's brand. It's just great because they seek out brands and products that follow ethical practices, including not just the ingredients, but fair pay and treatment for workers, strict quality standards, and safe working conditions. That's really, really amazing. And also even cooler, I talk about this every time I bring up Thrive Market, but your membership will sponsor a 1-for-1 family in need, which is just incredible. So if you want to shop at a grocery store that actually cares for your health, go to thrivemarket.com/probably for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That is THRIVE market.com/probably. thrivemarket.com/probably. And it really is just this like, it's like this sick bile that like erupts in your stomach before you do it. And then you do it and you're like, oh my God, I've done it. And you just like feel so great and so accomplished. But it is not for the faint of heart. It is just like, I have like a visceral reaction even just talking about it right now, which is good. Like you should do things in life that challenge you and make you feel really good afterwards. And I've admitted this to you before. Sometimes before I go on stage, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I really get nervous and I really don't like the way it makes me feel, but I know it's meant for me because the second I get off the stage, I literally feel like that fucking scene from Hocus Pocus where the witches go like, and they like suck all the fucking souls from the children and then they're so powerful and flying. I'm like, it's me. I'm like, I'm flying. Like I just feel so powerful and I love it. So that's got to be what I'm supposed to do, right? Soul suck everyone in the audience.
Well, and just watching you on stage, like over the course of the last year, you've gotten so much more comfortable, and especially like these last 3 shows, like you flawless, no notes, like it's been crazy.
The way whenever I get off stage, like Courtney really is my dead ass like security blanket. I know I've told you guys before and I'm really sorry if you're listening to this and you have a stuffed animal or a binky or a blankie or whatever it is. Like to me, I just like can't relate. Like I don't have any like physical thing that makes me feel comforted. But like when I finish these shows, because I truly need comfort. For a while there, I was like, James, you have to come on the road with me because like I need that comfortability. Now I can say this because he knows this, and he and I have had like a conversation at length about this, like, you know, sort of, not really. I really don't like when he comes on tour with me. Like I just realized like she's my blankie. That's my blankie actually. And it's because she is so embedded in the depths of like the comedy world, the me world, the production side, like me, like you understand me in this job so well that afterwards I only want to talk to you. I'm like, what are your notes? And Courtney will be like, this part you said this part you did this. I love this part. The crowd died at this part. You should do this. This is great. You implemented this last, I don't know what show it was. I think it was maybe the very last show. Was it Birmingham? I don't know. It was one of the shows, or maybe it was Raleigh. These last 3 shows that I just felt extremely comfortable and like happy about. I walked off stage and Courtney goes, no notes. And I was like, no notes. And she's like, no notes, bitch. And I was like, wow. I just felt so accomplished and happy. And you really are like the first person I want to talk to and like deep dive with about it, which is great because we usually, you know, have to drive for 7 hours after a show. So that's good and convenient. But it does feel really good to finally be comfortable in it. And that's the only way you can do it. Like nobody, like I said, I don't care how funny you are. I don't care who you are in this life other than like maybe someone really did just like pop up on stage and they were born with it and that's what they have. But it just comes with doing it over and over again. And it comes with like flopping. Like the way I sit down and write these jokes, because obviously I have to write, you know, an hour's worth of content and then memorize it and then perform it. And there was some, like, I think I only did it for a couple people, Courtney, Taylor, maybe my friend Brantley. I did the whole set. And like, there were a couple times where I was like, and obviously this one's going to be the biggest laugh because everyone's going to fucking die. This one, and Taylor's like, everyone's going to die. Courtney's like, everyone's going to die. Sometimes you go on stage. And I've never flopped. Thank God. I've never flopped a joke. But sometimes you are truly expecting a roar, like a rumpus, like just like a crazy explosion of laughter. And you get like a joint.
Well, what's so
like,
crazy?
What?
What's so crazy is like it could be the exact same joke in 2 different cities,
right?
Back-to-back days,
yeah,
and completely different reaction time or reaction to your joke. Like the same exact thing, but
the best part
region.
and the worst part, the best part and the worst part for sure is that a lot of the times the funniest things are the things that like pop off the top of my head. And the good thing about it is we do record all of these shows, so I'm able to like go back and listen and then try to remind myself I said that, use that in another show because that hit so hard. And that's like only comes with memorization. And a lot of people, we got some questions, we'll read some of y'all's questions, but a lot of people were like, how do you memorize? Or like, what do? Do you memorize it or you just like tell the stories? And basically because all of these stories in my stand-up, while some of them may be like embellished here or there, like for the most part, they are actually all true stories. And so they're really easy for me. They're not really easy for me to memorize because you want to have the correct timing. Comedy is all about timing, etc. But like for the most part, I tell myself when I get stressed out about memorization, which I used to do before every show, I'd be like, do I have this memorized? You'd be like, yes, you do. Because I go on stage and I'm like, oh yeah, I know the story. It happened to me. I know the story. So it's really great. Like there was this one specific story that I used to tell at everyone. And like, I really used to do that shit. And like, it's a funny story that really happened. So like, it's easier to memorize storytelling like that. But yeah, once you have the memorization down is when you can do more crowd work, I think. And so I think the shows have gotten funnier and funnier because I'm able to kind of like let more loose and like talk to people in the audience and ask them questions, where before I would be so afraid to get off the base of like not, and I'd be like, I can't do that because then I won't know where I was at in my set and I won't be able to get back. And then you don't want to be the comedian that's like, where was I? Like, you don't want to say that. So
yeah. No, you've gotten so good at it and so comfortable. And like these last 3 shows, because they've been cities that we've had shows in before. So people like had come up to me and said like, hey, I came to this show last year and I came back again this year. And like, I want you to tell Shannon, like, this is what she's supposed to be doing. She did such a good job. And then the other thing that's really cool that people that come to your shows do for these last 3 is it's people who come up to introduce themselves to me and then say, I had such a great time. I brought my friend who doesn't know Shannon.
Love.
And then they rave about you and tell me how much of a great time they had. And like, that's so cool to just see everybody doing. And like,
it makes me really happy.
Loves you so much. And even if it's somebody who comes in that room that doesn't know you beforehand, they're dying laughing at the end of the show. They're talking to me at the merch table, buying t-shirts. Like everyone has such a great time.
That makes me so happy. It makes me like feel really fulfilled in it all. And so that's why it's really special. I will say like the tour life though itself is, it's brutal. It's brutal. We can also talk about imposter syndrome. That's a good, like your very sweet compliments can go into imposter syndrome because sometimes I really do. And I was actually just saying this to you earlier. I follow a lot of comedians online. I actually follow a ton of female comedians. And it's really hard for me because I always, I don't know am I getting imposter syndrome correct? Like, am I just using a buzzword? I don't know. But like, I will watch their stuff and be like, why am I performing in the same place they are when they're doing all this stuff? Like, or they'll do like more stuff. Like, I think I need to get to a point where I understand and I realize this is great. This is great life advice. This is my little therapy session that I'm having out loud with you guys, but maybe this could matter for you too in any field of work that you do. But I need to stop looking at people that do a lot more than me, like people that are just like out there and spending their whole waking moment chasing comedy. Yeah. And I'm like, well, they're going to be more successful because they're grinding so much fucking harder than I am. They're gone 360 days out of the year and they are fucking fighting for their lives at these shows. They're going here, there, everywhere. And I'm like, I couldn't do that because I have a husband, I have a home. I love being home. I love my life here. Like I couldn't possibly just like be on the road 24/7, like living in comedy clubs at frat houses and having all. And I'm like, well, that's okay. That's their like journey, not mine. But it gives me this like feeling, this like pit in my stomach where I just feel like I'm not worthy of like if I were to get a really incredible gig with something comedy related, I would feel like, well, there must be people out there that are thinking she doesn't deserve that. So-and-so deserves that because they work so much harder than she does at the comedy. But I'm like, yo, but my shows are so funny and people laugh and I deserve this because I sold out that theater. So they offered me this position because they came to the show, they laughed at the show and they say I can sell the tickets. So I earned it. But in my brain, I'm like, you don't earn that. You don't fucking sleep on comedy room floors and you're not friends with comedians and you don't go on comedian podcasts 24/7 and you're not grinding like they're grinding. And it like makes me feel not worthy of it sometimes. I'm like, who am I? I'm this dumb fucking influencer that's trying to be a comedian. I'm a fucking idiot. But that's not true. I am a dumb fucking influencer, but I deserve this shit. And I just want to keep working at it. And it's a battle every day, struggling with like those thoughts that creep into my mind.
No, but you've worked so hard. Like you didn't just come out and say, I'm a comedian now. You know, you started with the live shows. You got that under your belt. And now you literally have an hour of stand-up that you do. Yeah. And I feel like that's how you know you really care about what you do because you don't want to just say, I'm a comedian and I'm the best and that's who I am, blah, blah, blah. You really care about working on it and working on your jokes and practicing. And like you have this massive tour coming up that you just booked and it's not like you're struggling to get shows or anything like that.
Well, it's not like my mom's a famous comedian and she gave me all this. Like I'm not a Nepo baby for comedians. No. I actually did, someone booked me for these shows because they know that I'll sell the tickets, which like I have to constantly remind myself, like you deserve to be here. It's okay. But it must be the way people feel when they're like, like an incredible cook. And I'm talking like an incredible cook. You know how the word like chef is like a sacred word and people will say like, oh, don't call me that. I forgot who I was talking to one time. It might've even been on a recording podcast or something of the sort, like on Instagram, because they were like, please don't call me that. And I was like, ha, no, you are chef. And they were like, no, seriously, like don't say that because I don't want anyone to think I call myself a chef. That's a very prestigious term. And like, you have to be like a legitimate trained chef who like is awarded that title. Yeah. And I know being a comedian is not the same thing, of course, but like the other day I was like looking at my Instagram bio and I don't have my like profession shown or anything like that. Yeah. And I thought about changing it to comedian and like letting it show in case anyone came to my profile and wanted to see what I was doing and like they would be able to see that right off the bat. And I was like, I literally can't do that. Disgusting. No, I can't do that. Like, oh my God, imagine someone comes to my profile and says comedian. It is about to be hair wash day for me, which I used to dread, but now I just love because my hair is so healthy, so natural, obsessed. You guys know that I was on my hair journey to get my hair perfect and amazing and natural and lovely and strong for my wedding. But now that the wedding's over, like I've said before, I really just like have this goal in mind to get my hair down to my booty hole. Like I just cannot wait for that. So you girlies are strapped in with me whether you want to be or not on my hair journey. So as I've mentioned before, I used to have hair extensions for like literally 11 years. And I'm not talking about some clip-ins. I'm talking they were glued into my like scalp, my hair. And that was not great for me. So I wanted to start over. I wanted to be natural, and that is where Nutrafol comes in. And it came highly recommended to me by so many hair gurus in my life, but also just friends in general who have used the product, love the results. I'm friends with a lot of influencers, so I saw the ads, but like I have actual real life friends who were not making a paycheck from this, who are just obsessed with Nutrafol. So if you have hair thinning, hair shedding, or you just want to get your hair to its healthiest place, I promise that Nutrafol just really is that girl, okay? Like the results that I saw from taking Nutrafol are just genuinely obvious, and that is what we love. We love when the proof is in the pudding, and there are a lot of reasons behind hair thinning, and Nutrafol addresses the root of those issues by taking a whole body approach to hair health. So they're really starting from within. Also, Nutrafol is the only #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1 million people, okay? 1 million people. You can see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. It is important to stay consistent. I feel like that's just genuinely something you have to do with a supplement like this. And I have been, and that's where you can kind of just see the real results, all right? I also have given Nutrafol as a gift, and the holidays are coming up, right? So I've given it to friends who are experiencing postpartum hair loss. I think it's a fantastic gift to give, even if you gave like the whole subscription to someone in your life. That's just a really nice thing to do. It's plant-based, it has drug-free, science-backed ingredients, so you're just gonna get the most reliable results, which I love, all right? And also, because I'm me, whether you're gifting to yourself or a loved one, you can give the gift of great hair growth this holiday season with a code for me, of course. Right now, Nutrafol is offering my listeners $10 off any order. Enjoy free shipping when you subscribe. Just go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code PROBABLYGIFT, okay? You're just going to go to Nutrafol, Nutrafol.com and enter promo code PROBABLYGIFT. But like, yeah, it's obviously what I'm just really passionate about. And I've actually, recently sat down and talked to James about like our future and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's like what I want to chase. Like, I don't want to like come out with a product. I don't want to have to be, I love being an influencer. I'm very blessed that like I have this opportunity in my lap whenever this ends for all of us. Who knows? Like, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Being an influencer is an amazing thing. Like, the amount of money you can make from just talking about other people's products is great. But I did tell James eventually I don't want to just live my life talking about other people's stuff. I want to have my own thing. And for a while there, I was like, I'll come out with something. I'll come out with a spray tan. I'll come out with something that I feel passionate about. But I don't really feel as passionate about anything as I do with like nurturing this like part of my career. And just like, I just want to give it all I can. If it doesn't end up being what I like dream of it being, that's fine. I just want to like know I really gave it my all and tried. And it does make me feel extremely fulfilled at the end of it. So like that just, if you're doing something every day, whether you're a nurse, a firefighter, whether you're a salesman, you sell cars, like whatever, like I know my friend Brantley, dead ass, that bitch is fucking literally has a rock hard dick when she like gets done with her job. Like I know she feels so fulfilled and successful and just like, I did that. I fucking did that. And like, that is what you should be in life. Like that's what we should be doing. If you are a mom and you don't work like an actual physical job every day with like a like job title other than being a mother and nurturing your children in your household, but every day you're like, I fucking know this is what I'm supposed to do. That's how you should feel. Like, and that really is how I feel after these shows. So I'm like, regardless if I end up popping off or not or anything, like it's just feels good to be doing something and making money from it that like gives you that kind of feeling when you're done, when it's all said and done, which is really nice.
Yeah. No,
so
you're crushing it.
Thanks, Court. You too. There's not a road dog out there like Courtney every time. So whenever I have shows, obviously it's not always that I have friends backstage. It's not always that I have like people that I know in a certain city. But when I do, there's a green room. Courtney brings them back. It's her like job on the road to grab them, do whatever. We don't exactly have like, next tour, we're going to have some laminates, some backstage passes, some Shannon backstage passes. But Courtney will always just be like running to do something. Like I couldn't even give you a list of all the things she does on tour. It's so long and I'm so used to it. Right. And it's just like, it is what it is. And I had someone that's like, really, I won't name her, I won't say who it is, but like someone came up to me one time and looked at me and she goes, do you know how long it took me to find a Courtney? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I've gone through 3 of them, three different people in her role. You are so lucky that you found someone that like can do what she does so flawlessly, so beautifully, that you get along with. You guys, you know how much time we spend together? Like,
all the time.
Do you know how much time we spend together? And this brings me back to my last point about how like I don't really love going on tour with James anymore because I just feel responsible for him. I just feel like I need to like make sure like he's having a good time, or like, is there a gym nearby, or do you have time to do your work? And then like, I don't know, like you and I just get there and get shit done, and it just like flows better. Like I'm sure anyone listening to this could be like, yeah, I wouldn't want to bring my husband to work either. Like the flow's not there. Like, and it just flows so good with us. We just have everything and it's so naturally like beautiful. But anytime I have friends and they kind of watch what I'm always seeing happen. So it just kind of goes over my head these days because I'm just like, yep, that's Court. That's what she does. That's Courtney. Anytime I have friends come, they always like stop me. And we're talking like my friend Grayson, who's like, a guidance counselor. She's like, damn, that bitch is getting it. And I'm like, oh yeah, Courtney? Yeah. And she's like, no, seriously, she is on it. She is on it. She's solving problems. She's making shit happen. She's like, And I'm like, oh yeah, Courtney is the shit. So I hope you always feel valued because you are.
Thank you. I do. No, I love what I do. And people ask me when we're on tour, like, do you like what you like? How do you feel about being on tour? And do you like being on the road? And do you like being a producer and whatever? And I'm like, I love it.
I love it.
It's my favorite thing in the world. Like, it's so crazy that we've been working together on your podcast for 3 years now.
I thought it was longer.
It was 3 years.
2021, I thought. 2021
plus 3 is 2024.
It's about to be 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, but September.
Yeah.
Okay, still I feel like I've known you for my whole life.
I know.
It's crazy to watch each other grow, and I was in like a whole ass 3-year relationship when I met you, and then I obviously tell my whole life on this podcast. So then whenever I'm like, sometimes I'll tell Courtney, I'll be like, she comes in, she sets everything up, we have a little bit of time, she has a life outside of me, which is crazy. But she'll be like, okay, here's my heart out. I'm sure like if you ever have to communicate or work with me in any capacity, you most likely always have to give me a heart out, otherwise I'll just so Courtney's like, my heart out is at this time. And then I'm like, okay, boy, do I have a story for you? And I'm like, I'll tell you, you'll just hear it on the podcast. You'll hear it. Because poor Courtney has to hear it here on the podcast. Then she has to edit it and has to hear it. So you've just watched so many facets of my life unfold. And I'm really glad that you get to be here for this, because whenever I sit down to write my material, I always have to sit down with Courtney. I think in general, I don't know who... People probably write alone all the time. Like I'm sure a lot of comedians do that, but I'm sure a lot of comedians also like write with other people, like a sounding board. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if y'all know this about Courtney, because she's honestly, would you consider yourself an introvert?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Agreed. I didn't want to like throw a title at you, but like I was about to be like, she's obviously an introvert. Courtney's an introvert, but this bitch is funny as fuck. And you're just a consumer of so much comedy as well. You love comedy. You always have before you met me, anything like that. And so I think that's maybe naturally why we vibed as well. But she is such a great sounding board for doing jokes. Like you understand the timing of stuff. And I'll be like, okay, I wrote this. And she's like, that's funny. What if you said, I'm like, wait, hold on. Like this. And she's like, yes. Like, it's just so wonderful to get in and do so any joke that I've told, I've run it by Courtney 15 times first. So that's great.
Thank you. You don't have to just gas me up for a whole hour.
No, that's what I want to do. What else do we have to talk about tour other than me gassing you up?
All right, now, guys, I am a self-proclaimed camel. James calls me a camel. I'm not good at drinking water. I wish I was. Like, all you girlies out here who can drink a gallon a day, like, congratulations, I am jealous of you. So I usually have to drink something like electrolytes to kind of give me that extra boost of hydration. You know what I mean? That sodium you need. And I used to drink liquid IV. But then everybody started talking about how much sugar's in it. They're like, oh my God, there's sugar in it. There's all this stuff. It's like not great for you. And I'm like, okay, hold on. I got to find an alternative. So actually Gatorade has come out with a hydration booster that's literally amazing. So it's an electrolyte levels suitable for all day, always on hydration. So you can enjoy this product throughout the day. Advanced blend of electrolytes. Now they're deriving it from watermelon, sea salt, and other sodium and potassium salts. It also has way less sodium, sugar, and calories than liquid IV, so I just feel really good about drinking it throughout the day. For instance, Gatorade Hydration Booster contains 30 calories and 5 grams of sugar, all right, versus liquid IV, which contained 45 calories and a whopping 11 grams of sugar. It's the sugar for me, honey. Like, that's just crazy, okay? Like, we don't need all that. So, packed with essential vitamins backed by Gatorade superior science experts. And, like, it's Gatorade. Come on. We love Gatorade. We trust Gatorade. We love it. No artificial flavors, no sweeteners, and no added color. That is a big, big, big in this household. So, I love that. And it helps you keep you at your best. No matter what the day throws at me, like, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be more hydrated than I usually am in my typical camel state. This product is for anyone, okay? It's for anyone on the lot on their to-do list, moms, not just athletes, okay? Gatorade is for everybody. So if you guys want to put your water to work with Gatorade Hydration Booster, then you can use code BOOST20 on Gatorade.com to try it out for yourself for 20% off. That is code BOOST20 on Gatorade.com to try it for yourself for 20% off.
We can answer some questions. Let's see what questions people have sent. Do you have a favorite city that we went to out of all the cities we've gone to?
That's such an interesting thing because like going on tour, you don't realize how much the city matters. You do the same show every city. So you assume it's just going to be the same thing over and over and over. It's all so fucking different. Okay. Here's what me and Courtney used to do. It's all like you got to like live and you learn, right? So we used to like get to the hotel rooms. We used to really not have it figured out like timing wise because let me run you through a typical day on tour. So walk us through like the roll in time, unload time, meet and greets. Oh, and you could also discuss how I do my meet and greets first, which no one really does that.
Okay, yeah. So that really throws everybody for
nobody likes that.
Loop. They're
People
not fans.
Are not fan. Everyone does love me at every venue I go to, but they are like, real quick question: why the fuck do you do your meet and greet before?
Yeah, so like we get there around 4:30 and 4:30ish, we usually hang for 30 minutes, then run into like a sound check.
Yeah.
Do a quick sound check for 30 and then you have a little bit of time to get ready. Then we do the meet and greet.
Yep.
Meet and greet, 45 minutes, an hour or so. And then doors will open. People can get their seats, get drinks, whatever. And then showtime.
And this is the time right where the doors open and I can start hearing people file in. And then before showtime, that's the exact amount of time that it takes me to like question everything of my existence and shit my pants and be like, why am I doing this? I can't fucking do this. I don't have anything memorized. I'm gonna go stitch and flop. And then I walk on stage and I'm like, hello, New York.
Yeah.
I hate that period. Like, if you could literally bottle that feeling that I had that 1 hour before, if I could bottle it and put it in a tangible form, I could sprinkle it on all of my fucking like enemies in life, I would make them all feel that way 24/7. Like, I wish that feeling on all of my enemies.
Yeah.
You know, that I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Nope. I wish that feeling on all of my enemies. That is the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much anxiety. And I have to really monitor what I do during that time now. And you've helped me out a lot with that as well. Just like really taking into consideration and into care, like how I like treat myself and my energy and mental state on tour, because you can, if I'm by myself and just sit there doing nothing productive, then, or like just like doing something, I can have a panic attack, which I've only ever had one before tour, of course, but it's just like, I don't ever want to put myself in that position. So,
but I think doing the meet and greet beforehand has helped ease that too, because it lets you meet everybody, and obviously, you know, everyone is there, that everyone that is there loves you, but it's just that reinforcement that like,
right.
Then also you go on stage and the people in the front row are the people that you saw in the meet and greet.
Exactly.
So you know their names and you know their stories and you can kind of banter with them a little bit and it makes it a lot easier.
Exactly. And whenever I did my first show, so my very first show in Nashville, the meet and greet was after the show. So this was a double whammy of, I don't like this because, and if you met me at the first Nashville show, I loved meeting you. But the issue was all my friends and family, of course, were at the Nashville show. It was my first show. It was in Nashville. Yep. They were all waiting backstage for me after the show ended. And I was like, I have an hour meet and greet, sorry. And then also I was the amount of exertion that comes out of me after a show, like I can talk to Courtney for like 20 minutes about like the show, what happened, what were your notes, what do you think, blah blah blah. And then after that I'm like, sometimes we both have like a lot of adrenaline sometimes, and we like find it hard to go to sleep, but for the most part I want to just like shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. So it's nice to do the meet and greet before, when I'm like have all this nervous energy that I can just, like if you met me at a meet and greet, you're probably like, yeah, she was extraordinarily chatty and nice. Cause I'm like, blah, 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 because it feels good to get all that energy out with like people that came there that like me and are nice and are excited for the show. And I get to be like, wait, you know, you like you said, you can recognize them in the show and it's fun to like play that part. So that's why I do my meet and greets before, but nobody does that. I'm not trying to sound like a cool girl, and no one does that, but no one really does do that. Yeah. And you know, if you're anyone listening to this podcast right now that's in this field, you can do your meet and greet before if you want. They will let you do it. They will be like, why the fuck are you doing that? But they will let you do it.
Yeah. What are your top 3 must-have things on tour?
Oh, okay. So there's this specific thing I'll break down if you aren't in this like world. I actually knew what this was called because I live in Nashville and I had a lot of friends that are musicians, and I've seen like backstage. I know it's called a rider. So a rider is something that you tell every venue you want waiting for you backstage in the green room, and you can get as crazy as you want because it's your money that you're spending. You have like an allotted amount of money that if you don't spend, it either gets added to your check or sometimes they don't give it to you. So sometimes you're like, I might as well spend it. You could be like, I want red gummy bears, Long Island iced tea, and a bucket of ice with blue food coloring. Like, and they'd be like, we'll have it all ready for you. Most people, of course, just do regular stuff. Like, I want waters, I want a bottle of Tito's, I want like some seltzer, whatever, right? We do the same thing. We're about to switch it up actually next time because we've gotten better about understanding when you just broke down that timeline of when we get there, when we load in. Me and Courtney now realize we really like getting to a city because, to answer your question, which I totally forgot to answer about one of my favorite cities, when you get to a city, now we try to go out of our way to go eat lunch somewhere in that city and to have like a nice lunch. I don't even mean an expensive lunch, but to go somewhere that's like, where do you go? We're in Philadelphia. Where the fuck do we get a Philly cheesesteak? Like we try to do that and kind of like immerse ourselves into the city. And it gives us this like fun moment where we don't feel like we're like lugging suitcases, lugging merch, checking into hotels, sitting down for 30 minutes. Cause we used to just go to our hotel because we thought in our heads, we were like, we just traveled all this way. We're going to want to sit in our hotel for 2 hours and just do nothing. But it's actually a lot more fun and gives me more energy to like go out and explore a city and go to a nice lunch. And then I fill myself up with a great big meal because I cannot eat before the show. I literally fucking can't. So we used to have backstage charcuterie board on the rider and fruit, like just like meat and cheese and some fruit so that if anyone was backstage, they could have nibbles and then we could always nibble it. But like I don't touch the stuff because I have like a pit of nerves inside of me. So it's really important that I get that big lunch in. And it's like cool. Like when we went to that, one of my favorite memories is us in Pittsburgh.
The duck drink place?
No, that was so fun. That was in the Midwest. We got
okay.
She got a drink one thing about Courtney, she's gonna get a drink that's like bright orange or purple, and it's gonna have a floating object in it or a fucking tree sticking out of it or something, and it's gonna be delicious.
Yeah. Okay, which are you talking about, the market?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Where was that?
Philadelphia? Maybe?
Yeah.
I think.
The Yinzers.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna really
don't
piss
know.
people off if that's Pittsburgh.
But it's somewhere in Pennsylvania that has the big market with all the restaurants that are really good.
And it was amazing. It was wonderful. And we went there and that was such a fun experience. And that just made me love the city. And then it was like time for the show. And then I got to like go get dressed and go to the show. And I loved that so much. I love that so much. So I really liked that city.
Let's talk about things I'm looking forward to as the weather turns cooler, which where we're at right now in Tennessee, it's getting cold. It's getting cold. Now I'm loving football games. I'm loving a little pumpkin spice latte. I don't know what's in them. I don't care. Don't tell me about it. I just want to drink it, okay? I'm loving chili on the stove. And what I really love is slipping into a cozy sweater from Quince. But I feel good about slipping into this sweater because this isn't just any sweater. Oh no. This is Mongolian cashmere. Yeah, that's right. Mongolian cashmere. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, how much money do you have, Daddy Warbucks? No. When you shop on Quince, you can get Mongolian cashmere crewneck sweater for $50. Like, that's actually crazy. And it's not just that. All Quince items are actually priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. We're talking wearable and washable silk. We are talking beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more, like these really luxe items. And how are they able to do that? How are they able to make this price point, okay? And that is because they are cutting out the middleman. They partner directly with these top factories that cut out the cost of the middleman and they pass that savings on to us, which we really love. Now, let me tell you specifically, I allow myself to get a new sweater anytime I want a cashmere sweater from Quince because I'm just like, it's just too affordable not to. But I try to do it around the seasons and I just got the most perfect one for the holidays. So it's their Mongolian cashmere crewneck sweater in color moss. Like, it is going to be so perfect for Christmas. I just cannot wait. I love it, okay? And Quince only works with factories, by the way, that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, and I love that. And of course, as we know, premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece. So get these cozy, amazing cashmere sweaters. Get anything off the Quince website because it's just like iconic, and get cozy in Quince's high quality wardrobe essentials when you go to quince.com/probably and you're going to get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/probably to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/probably.
Any city is my favorite whenever the people are really fun. I gotta say the crowds in Florida always gonna be a banger.
They're so good.
Like the people of Florida, like they're just like fun ass, like happy people. I mean, I guess the sunshine just like makes them happy. And then places that I was not surprised I would end up loving, like I love the crowd in Boston. Like those are just some bitches that just like fuck with me. Like I know I don't give any ounce of like Boston accent or energy, and like those are some badass bitches that are like in the fucking freezing cold and snow and their fucking booty shorts. But like in the South, we say hoes don't get cold. So like that's me. I've always related to that deeply inside my soul. But those are just like badass bitches, and I just feel like I always knew deep down like I would fuck with Boston bitches, and that was just a fun crowd. Like that was just a fun place to be. Chicago will always be probably, I have to give it number one. I actually have to give it the number one spot because I've always been so well received by the people of Chicago in general. Like the fucking city loves me. Like I don't know what it is. I love Chicago. It loves me back. And I think it actually might deep down, I could be wrong, but I do think this comes from a very base level of when I was on Very Cavallari. Jay Cutler was a quarterback for the Chicago Cubs, LOL, for the Bears team. So there was a huge following of that show, the reality show that I was on, Very Cavallari, from Chicago. We had like one of our shows one time was in Chicago, and I remember I walked around Chicago. It was the very first time in my whole life I got recognized, because before the show aired in Nashville, no one would come up to me and say anything. No one knew who we were yet. When we went to Chicago for the season finale premiere party, it was the first time in my life I was being stopped everywhere, like you're the, and I was like, whoa. Like, and also back then grown men watched the show because of Jay being on the show, and being married to Kristen, and of course Kristen was like a huge facet of Chicago as well. And so I would get like grown men being like, Shannon, and of course I have bright red hair, so I'm like easy to spot. So I, you know, we got to give credit to that where that's due. But it was like I have this like soft spot because I just feel like Chicago was like the first people that were like, you're famous, and I'm like, I'm famous, me, like cool.
Yeah.
And so I've always like when we did this show, like we're selling out comedy clubs or venues that are of the capacity of around 350 is like a max, right? Well, whenever we were selling tickets for Chicago, my booking agent's like, we're going to need to get you in a theater for 600 people and we're pretty sure you're going to sell it out. I was like, no fucking way. And then it was like, Chicago sold out. And I was like, they love me. They really love me.
In like days. It was so fast.
It was
too.
so the energy is just great. Like, I mean, it's hard to not pick your favorite city based on the people that love you the most. So Chicago, I love you back.
Yeah.
That one's great. So I always have a good time in Chicago. That's probably like one of my favorite cities. But what was the question after that is that I favorite city? And then what was the first question or the question you just asked?
I thought it was favorite city.
I went back to that. There was something else you asked me. Meet and greet before.
Oh, the 3 things you must have.
Oh, 3 things I must have. Yeah, I was talking
Yeah.
about writers and stuff. Okay, 3 things I must have. So it used to be a bottle of Casa Azul tequila. Now, I do still love when they have that, but sometimes we're flying to different cities. So then I just feel bad because I'm like, who wants this bottle of Casa Azul tequila? Like, which is always fun to give it away. Like, I do love being like, Casa Azul to give away. But I think I really, really, really like a necessity on tour. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. And y'all are going to roll your eyes, and that's fine. I have realized while traveling and while on tour, and I know you're not even really going to probably agree with this. Not that you mind. But Courtney literally is the nicest, coolest person. She'll do anything. She'll sleep anywhere. She'll do anything. If I was like, we're going to sleep in our car the whole tour, she'd be like, I'll figure it out. I have realized that I have to have, especially because we're 2 women who travel together and because I don't travel with James, I have to have a nice hotel. And I'm not talking 5 stars. I'm really not. I have to have 3 stars or higher. I have to have that, and otherwise it just they're not consistent. I know I'm gonna get shit for this. I don't care. I really don't.
No, do you remember the hotel we stayed at that had like stains on the floor in the hallway? The
Fucking murder Holiday Inn.
Yes. Yep.
The Holiday Inn that was a murder town.
Milwaukee, maybe. Was that Milwaukee?
It was somewhere in the Midwest. I ain't gonna lie, it was a Midwest. It's hard because they're not consistent. I'm a Holiday Inn girly. I actually have such a special place in my heart for all of the like what are the chains, like the Holiday Inns, the Best Westerns, Renaissance. Like I have such a soft spot because like whenever I traveled growing up, which was like not super often, when we would go to a hotel, that's where we would stay. And like there are so many nice ones. Like the smell of them is all the same. And I'm not talking about a bad smell. I just mean they all smell the same. They all look the same no matter how many times they've been renovated. They're all the same. And it gives me this like I'm on vacation. I'm a big kid. Like my mom and dad are letting me and my sister, we're in like the adjoining room with the open door. Like my brother's in there with us. And like, I don't know, it brought me such like happiness because like they really are a great chain. It's why they've survived for so long. You know, we were never staying at Motel 8s or Motel 6s or anything, but like they're not consistent. And that's the thing. You can't Google, is this one good ? You can't get a hand on it, right? So there were some we were going in where I was like, oh, cute, nostalgic. Oh, I smell the chlorine from the pool. Oh, look at those kids on vacation. Those are usually like in Florida, whatever. Those are fine. Probably a lot of traffic there for Disney World and stuff. But then you're gonna go to a Kansas City Holiday Inn and you're gonna be wondering some things like, is this safe ? Then there was that one hotel we went in because y'all, it's a finance podcast. I really did try to save money on the front end. I was like, I can't be staying here like in these nice hotels. But there's this one that we went to that I was like looking around, and the more I looked around, I was like, it just gives creepy hospital vibes. And you were like, I think this used to be a hospital, and I was like, ain't no way, ain't no fucking way. And then like I was like, oh, this used to be a hospital, and it just like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So that's one thing that's a necessity that I hate about myself because like it does not behoove me to spend gobs of money on hotels because I get obviously Courtney a hotel room, obviously me a hotel room. It's not great to spend a bunch of money on hotel rooms when you're trying to make money from your tour. But I don't have a good time when I'm scared and when I think there's blood on the carpet. So I just have to. So that's a necessity. Currently in my like era where I'm just binging TV shows with James, it's just like must be the holiday season. But speaking of which, when you have a binge-worthy show or like even a song that you can't stop listening to and you have to share with your friends, like you just have to, right? So that they can experience how awesome it is. Well, I'm going to bring this back in a full circle because that's how I feel about my phone plan, all right? That is how I feel about Mint Mobile because they offer premium wireless for $15 a month. And who would I be to gatekeep that from you guys, okay? When you order or purchase a 3-month plan,
you are going to get a wireless plan for $15 a month. Premium, baby, premium. It's just such an awesome deal. There's no way I'm going to gatekeep that. And because friends don't let friends overpay for their wireless. I can't even tell you, like, I am embarrassed to think about what my wireless plan, it was so expensive. I actually found Mint Mobile through James because he already used it when he came to the US. I was like, I'm not doing that because I'm not switching. $15 a month sounds crazy, but like, what are we talking about? Like, explain Mint Mobile to me. And he's like, okay, well, it's amazing. And I was looking into it, and they literally have high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, all delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Like, literally, you're going to get 5G with this, okay? $15 a month. I have to say that again. But the coolest part is, and this is what I was really weird about, like, I'm obsessed with my phone and my phone number. I just feel really attached to them. And you're able to bring your phone, your existing contacts, your phone number, all of it you can do. The only thing you don't have to bring along is those overpriced plans that you were used to. So ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal, and you can get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. Okay. So to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/probably. That is mintmobile.com/probably. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/probably. $45 upfront payment is required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gigabytes on an unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Yeah, necessity is my health. I have been very unfortunate. I am praying. I don't know, like, you guys aren't gonna, if you see me, if you see me in February fucking going out and partying, or like not washing my hands, or traveling, or getting on airplanes, you fucking grab me by my hair and you fucking tell me what's what, because I have got to be healthy for this tour. I really don't know how or why, but for, I don't know, 3 separate runs, because we were doing, the way we were doing the tour before was like, 4 shows a month, 1 week. So it'd be like 1 week out of the month. And it kept happening that I would be sick. And I'm talking about like the flu, or I'm talking about like a horrible sinus infection, or I'm talking about like a terrible like migraine that turned into like something crazy, like really just like ill. And I just went to these last 3 shows and I was healthy as a whip. I actually have a little bit of a throat thing going on right now. I was so healthy. I was so like spry and just really like with it, right? And I kept, how many times did I say it to you on that tour? I go, you can't put a price on health.
A lot.
You can't put a price on health. I feel so good. She'd be like, do you want to, Courtney would be asking me questions like, she'd be asking me questions that she normally would, like, do you need this? Do you need that? And I'd be like, no, I'm fine. I'm chilling. She'd be like, I'm sorry, we're about to get out of here. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm fine. Because she's probably thinking of all the times where I'm like fighting for my life. Like, Courtney, I got to go back to the hotel. I really got to get back. Oh God, I don't feel good. Oh, like, it is horrible to be sick on tour. And I'm not going to call out. I'm not going to cancel a show because I have a common cold. Like, I know the days of COVID really freaked us all out and it made us be like, if you have a cold, stay home. But like, bitch, no. If people bought tickets to a show and 350 people showed up, you're not going to be like, sorry guys, I don't feel so good. Bitch, pop some Dayquil and get your ass on stage. Like, that's the world we live in. That's the world our parents grew up in. You think my mom was like, can't be a travel agent today. My nose is stuffy. Like, bitch went to work, My dad's working on houses if he's sick. You got to do what you got to do. Obviously, if you're deathly ill, you can't do that. But I can't just cancel these shows unless, I'm staring at a picture right now that we beautifully have hung in my podcast room of my face that's like exploded with my lips. Like, that was a different story. But yeah, necessities are nice hotel, my health and wellness, and definitely having Courtney on tour. Oh, that's my 3 necessities.
Oh yeah, that's a good list. That's a good list for your necessities. I love being on the road with you. It's so fun. A couple other questions that we got from the box. I don't know if you saw this or not. I think you could actually see it from the green room. When we were in Greenville, somebody said the water falling from the ceiling by the merch table.
What?
Maybe you couldn't see it. You couldn't see that they had trash. The ceiling was leaking water, and there was they had trash cans on the floor.
What?
But like, it's not like this tall ceiling. It's like maybe 3 or 4 times the height of the ceiling.
So it was dropping a lot.
So it was like theater height ceiling dropping to the floor with trash cans.
No one was probably telling me that because in Greenville I was having a panic attack. So people were probably like, let's not tell her the ceiling's falling before she really feels like fucking Chicken Little. The sky is falling.
That happened.
I didn't see that.
No, it's all good. It got taken care of.
Wow.
One more. How do you decide locations for tour?
So that goes back to my amazing, wonderful booking agent. That is John. He basically decides all that. I don't really have anything to do with it. You guys can tell me a city that you really, really want me to be at. Like, I think we actually have a lot of people say like Seattle. And if I hear that enough, I'll say to him like, hey, should we look into Seattle? But he has a huge brain, right? First and foremost. So he understands how to pick a market or a territory or an area that makes sense, a venue that makes sense for me, the sizing. There's a lot of rules. You can't go back to the same place within a year with the same content. They don't like to reroute you in the same place. A lot of venues won't have you back. Like, for instance, I was a headliner. Okay. I was a headliner for National Comedy Fest, and I was like, "Ooh, I can't wait to do that again next year." And he's like, "Well, they won't have you back. They don't have the same headliners 2 years in a row." And I was like, "Oh, so there's like a lot of rules and a lot of different things behind the scenes that you don't really know about." So he kind of picks that. But me and Courtney will say we really think we should hit the Midwest again. The Midwest was great. We have a lot of people that want us in Ohio. We've never done Ohio. Let's do that. There's a lot of factors that come into play with routes. So I think when we first started, we realized on the jump on the front end that and we didn't make this very clear, so this is on us as well. Like, we didn't tell them that, hey, we're going to really try to drive these. We realized by just doing it that we prefer driving than flying. And that is because we have a bunch of merch. We have a bunch of stuff. We have, like, flying isn't as easy as you think it is, because you can drive whenever. You can wake up and hit the road whenever. You can put those keys in that ignition in. Life is a highway. It's up to you, right? When you fly, how many times do they give you a flight from Kansas City to Nashville? Probably twice a day, and you don't get to pick the fucking times. So it's not lovely. And also, of course, like, flights get delayed, whatever. There can be traffic, but that's usually about it with as far as driving. Yeah. So planes, we realized, were not our favorite way to tour. So this tour in specific, we did have a little bit to do with the cities we picked, just because we were like, please route them that makes sense for us to drive. Like, we really want to hop in a rental car and we want to drive to one city to the next. And we wouldn't mind a day off in between, give us a day off after we're in Chicago so we can spend the day in Chicago, give us a day off in Philly so we can go to that fun little market again, like whatever it is. So I swear that might've been Pittsburgh. I don't know. Y'all are going to kill me if I get this mixed up.
I'll look it up.
Pittsburgh and Philly. Right. We'll make it right with you guys before we end this podcast. Where was the market? I think it was Philly.
In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philly. Shouts out. So we'll go back there. Yeah. So that is how the cities get picked, but mostly we're just excited to be coming back to all the places. 2025 tour. The name of the tour will be out very soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited. If we are coming to a city near you, I would love for you to come to the tour, because it's going to be a lot different. If you've come to a show before and it was a show that I did stand up at, this is going to be a lot different. I'm rewriting a lot of stuff. That's like the fun part about it, right? Like, it feels really good. And I would normally feel scared about this kind of stuff, but I feel really excited that I'm like, okay, that joke, those stories had their time, they had their moment. We're taking those away. We're writing new material. So it's going to be a really fun time. And I'm also going to start diving and dipping my toe in the water with some like 20-minute, 15-minute sets at local comedy clubs like Zany's in Nashville, and a lot of stuff. There's a lot of fun comedy news and updates coming from my direction, which I still feel insane saying. Just remind me every day that I'm allowed to be here. Please tell me that it's okay. Anyways, I love you guys. I'm fighting imposter syndrome every day. And Courtney, I love you so much. I know you knew this was coming, but I'm sorry I just talked the whole time.
That's okay. I love it.
Love you. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of Courtney as well, not just on tour, but we have some fun little episodes coming up that we've decided were going to be a cool additive for the podcast. Yeah, so you can't get rid of me yet, bitch. Love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry that you have to listen to all of this yet again when you edit this, Courtney.
That's okay. I love it. Love you.
Love you. Mwah. Bye.